might come off as some high-strung religious nutjob idea, but I don't really care.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
There's been a thorn in my side with recent lingo, maybe not so much recent anymore, and the satanic influence that our culture has. Back when I was in middle school, I was addicted to YouTube just like every other guy my age, and at the time, Call of Duty was the biggest video game there was, long before Fortnite or anything like that. And I remember staying up all night watching White Boy 7th Street's channel. That was his username at the time. His real name escapes me, but White Boy 7th Street was his channel. And he used to always call himself the GOAT, the greatest of all time, as an acronym. And now everybody's quite familiar with that term. It's quite widely used when referring to Michael Jordan or LeBron or any other agent like that. However, I also remember in 5th grade, I went to the movies for a friend's birthday party, and his mom took us to see an R-rated movie, and it was like such a big deal at the time, we were in 5th grade. So, we went to see Epic Movie, and I recently rewatched bits and pieces, or as much as I could stand of that movie, just to kind of, because I hadn't watched it since, and just to remember what it was. And there was literally a scene of P. Diddy guest starring in this movie, with him as this is embarrassing, but the name escapes me, the half-man, half-goat creature. He's literally dancing around as a half-man, half-goat creature. And goat, in terminology, has caught on so much throughout popular culture that it's literally everywhere. It's in movies, video games, corporate media uses it. You'll see channels like Fox News or even CNN use it. It's so permeated throughout society that the term is ubiquitous now. However, connecting that with Diddy's guest appearance in Epic Movie as the half-man, half-goat creature reminded me of all the satanic symbolism that goats are associated with. So if everyone runs around calling themselves the GOAT, and that's also that connection there, then essentially everyone is calling themselves some sort of demon. And so I mentioned in my previous videos that there are many enemies and traitors of our culture that try to hijack our myths, or try to at least influence them in the direction they want them to go in. So there's a real possibility that the term GOAT, greatest of all time, was pushed heavily on society by people who benefit from that sort of influence. But it must be counteracted. And I've thought about this forever. I've had this crazy idea. What would the proper alternative to GOAT be? GOAT as a term. What would the proper alternative be? Well, Pascal's wager in the 21st century. If there's so much evil in the world, there has to be an equal and opposite force of good. So as real as the devil and demons are, it's just more evidence that God is real. And so, what is the proper reflecting mythological symbol to Satan's goat? Well, that would be God's lamb, God's sacrificial lamb. That would be the proper righteous mythological symbol to associate yourself with, rather than a goat. But, however, goat caught on with its popularity. There's literally a movie that just came out named The GOAT after that acronym. So it caught on so heavily, the demonic influences of society latched their claws onto that term and took it with them. So the proper righteous terminology to that would be to call yourself the Lamb. But goat's catchiness is largely why it's so popular, to call yourself the greatest of all time. That's a pretty good feeling, a little prideful, a little arrogant, but hey, only a few people are worthy of that title. But what is a more applicable title? Because on the demonic side of things, you have one being at the head of things, which is Satan. And so on the righteous side of that thing, all beings are meant to be lifted up. Everyone is meant to be lifted up to the plane of God, to Jesus' heavenly kingdom. So what would be that alternative term? Well, GOAT's an acronym, right? So for Lamb, if you were calling yourself the Lamb, that means you would be living at man's best, which is a perfect acronym for Jesus himself and everything you should strive to do. So thank you and good night. Oh my God, it's like I get possessed. Thank you. It's like I get possessed when I just get talking like that. And it's like,
It comes off good, doesn't it?
I have to think
You
ahead.
said a lot of things I understood.
Maybe not a lot of words, but yeah, thanks.
I mean, I understand everything you said. You might not think it, but
Well, it just comes from studying it, you know. Y'all have had to have heard that term, the GOAT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Like, yeah, it's
everybody's the GOAT now.
yeah, exactly. Everybody is the GOAT now because they want that satanic label as widespread as possible.
And if you look, in, I ain't gonna necessarily say the Bible, but when you look at what the devil is, he's a fucking goat.
Exactly. So that symbolism is directly related. That's what
symbolizes the devil.
That's what mythology is. It's a symbolic representation of an experience. And so if you have the experience of the GOAT, you know, because the devil, he's the prince of this world, the Bible says. So anyone who's the greatest, they're going to be, you know, rewarded with riches and all this for the cost of what? Their soul, of course. But if you change the acronym to the Lamb, living at man's best, it takes on a whole new meaning. So I came up with this forever ago, probably 2 years ago at this point, but I never even got around to filming this video. So
Well, it was good.
People, I tell you, she knows kinda, but when I'm sitting back there in my bedroom, I'm sitting back there reading the Bible a lot of times.
what book are you on? How far are you in?
I don't even know. I just read.
Well,
I don't.
let's see. Yeah.
It gives me peace when I can't sleep.
Honestly, reading it and comprehending it are two different things, because I'll read entire passages and not know what the hell's going on. I'm not gonna lie. I read the whole book of Kings. I really struggled to grasp that.
I have to sit there and read it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it takes discipline. It takes work. I mean,
I
just like anything else. But
I can't comprehend pretty much anything I read.
yeah.
But if I put my hands on it, you know.
Honestly, the first time I really comprehended anything it was talking about was that Easter of 2023 when we went and listened to, Pastor Davis. And he explained that story, and I had already seen it before. I was like, I know this story. I've seen it somewhere else, and that's when I realized that my favorite movie about Superman and all this stuff, it was reenacting that, and that's why I started this whole channel and everything. So, it's all so interconnected.
I was getting ready to say, it all comes back together as one.
Right. Would you mind pressing that button?